Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee, and my pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. And each episode will explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about these 3 kinds of friendships that we have with others that just make us want to ghost them. I'm telling you, if you are this type of person, one of these 3 people that I mentioned, so what I want you to do, and the purpose and intention of this episode is to help you understand if you are one of these 3 kinds of people, that you need to start doing something different. If people are poof, disappearing and ghosting you, then you're probably doing one of these 3 things. If you are a person who has ghosted one of these people, then sit back because, hey, prepare to be validated. Are you ready? Let's go. So what I want to do here today is talk about 3 types of friendships that we have, or 3 types of friends, the friend archetype that we see in others, right? So I want to talk about these 3 types of people, and I want to describe their behaviors, their actions to you. And if you see yourself, once again, if you see yourself in these people, I want you to consider what this information I'm going to give you. I want you to consider how you can make a change and be somebody who is more connecting and has people around that really genuinely appreciate them, okay? So the first person that I want to talk about, because, I believe that I've been all of these people. Just as a disclaimer before I jump into it, I believe I've been all of these people at one point in time. I've been the person who's been ghosted because I've done these 3 things. I've shown up as this person, that person, and the third person because I didn't have my own sense of self. So with that said, it's not a judgmental thing that I'm coming at you with. It's more of a, I've been there, I understand what it's like, and look how my relationships deteriorated because I wasn't able to have my own sense of self, because I wasn't able to be a good friend because I was doing something else instead. So the first person that I want to talk about is the insensitive friend. The insensitive friend is the person who is toxic. As if you've listened to my podcast before, you know that I describe people who are toxic as people whose behaviors that you want to change. So if you run into an insensitive friend, it's likely that you don't like their behaviors and they're toxic. So that's what I mean when I say toxic. But you have this insensitive friend who always makes insensitive jokes about people that would make those people feel insecure. And they know that it's making them feel uncomfortable. It's making them feel in some kind of way. So that's me being the insensitive friend. And I would just make jokes about things and say, oh, it's not a big deal, you're overreacting. Gaslighting goes right along with it. If you're a person who is doing this, it is likely that you just think it's kind of funny. You're getting a reaction out of people and you want to be noticed. That's the thing. That's what I was doing. So that's the thing. You might want to be noticed by people. And so what we want to do is pay attention to that. Because if you're an insensitive friend, how you're impacting your friends is that they don't like you. They tolerate you. You're not extra funny. They might be afraid of you because you might roast them, but they don't really want to hang out with you and appreciate and accept you. I guarantee you, if you are the insensitive friend who's always poking at somebody's insensitivities, their insecurities, if you're always poking at those things, they're not going to want to be in your space. And if they are in your space, they were afraid that you're going to say something, so they try and appease you. And they laugh because they don't want you to bring even more heat onto them. So if you're the insensitive friend, pay attention. Hello, pay attention. The second kind of friend that I was, and that you might be if people are ghosting you, not talking to you, is your nosy friend. You're always interested in what's going on in other people's lives. And what we do as a nosy friend is we're looking, I think it goes right along with being insensitive. We're looking for something to hurt you with. Maybe it's not intentional. It's unconscious. It's happening. I'm nosy. I'm looking for stuff. I want to know who you're dating or what kind of problems you have. I want to know all these things. And they don't really concern me. I'm not interested in helping you find a solution with it. I'm just being nosy. What's going on? What you doing? How you been? Just so I can see what your pain points are so that I can bring them up later. That's what a nosy friend does. These people who are nosy friends, I mean, there's a difference, of course, from the supportive people who have your back, who are interested in what's going on in your life, who appreciate you and want to talk to you and help you figure out some of the problems that you have. There's a difference between the nosy friends, because nosy friends want to know all the problems that you got so that they can tell other people about it, so they can make fun of you for it, or so they can make it some kind of insensitive, hurtful joke about what's going on. They can dismiss your feelings about the experience. If you are the nosy friend, prepare. People aren't going to like you, okay? People aren't going to like you. Then what do you talk about? Well, you talk about yourself. Talk about something else. Actually, I have this Meaningful Connections workbook that you might want to like find in the link in my profile. Go to link in my profile, get this Meaningful Connections workbook that's really going to help you with these 50 questions to help you understand more about yourself, so that you're not trying to figure out other people, so you're not in everybody else's business, so you got something about yourself to share with other people. Because that's one of the things, truth be told, that's one of the things that had me looking at other people, because I thought I was so boring. I was so interesting. Well, they've got something going on in their life. Let me pick apart that. Let's see what's going on with them. Ugh. I know I'm supposed to, I just think about myself like so many years ago, and I cringe. Sometimes I cringe sometimes, but then I realize that, a little Lee didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. And, because I had that experience, I could tell you about how I came out on the other side. Really. It's nothing but recognizing how you show up and deciding that you want to make a change. And I had too many people just not be interested in me because I showed up this way, and I thought, I was the victim. I was being kind. I was being supportive. I was being interested in them because I'm being all nosy. I'm being interested in them, but they can't stand me. Ugh, of course. I understand. I get it. Now I'm a different person. And so, if you're identifying with some of these things, I just really want to tell you that you don't know what you don't know until you know what you know. And when you know what you know, you do better. That's it. When you know how to do better, you will do better. You will do better. So being a nosy friend is what a lot of us do. A lot of what I experienced from other people too. That's what I saw with was the kind of relationships that people would form around me, as they'd be like all in somebody's business and they talk about somebody else's business. And that was just it. That's not a good relationship. That's not a good friendship. So the third person that I'd like to talk about is the narcissist friend. All right, the narcissist. As soon as that word left my lips, I thought, oh man, y'all tired of hearing this word. Yeah, narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist. I don't know now. Okay. I get it. I hear you. But a narcissist friend is still a thing. Okay, I'm going to label that narcissist. Bam, narcissist. I used to be one of those people who was really focused about me, because I started to be the victim. Like I was telling you just a minute ago, I was like, I'm the victim. Everything has to be about me. Everything is about me. Nobody should be thinking about anything other than me. I have to be the focus here. I am the thing. So I try to make things about me one way or another, whether I really consciously knew it or not. Like this is like stealing somebody's thunder, kind of like how Beyonce did Usher, the Super Bowl, just stealing somebody's thunder, making it all about them. But making it all about me and how I felt about the experience over anybody else's experience. So let's say I was at a party and I was just feeling really upset. I'd make a big deal about being disconnected or left out. Like, nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to. It's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about how I feel. Nobody else can have a good time because I'm not having a good time. Everybody has to feel the way the narcissist feels. This is what I think about narcissism. I am not a therapist. Once again, I am a coach. I have my own life experiences. I read books. I listen to people share their own experiences, and I come up with my own conclusions. Okay, so this is what this is based on. This is not based on something a psychiatrist said, and besides which I have my own experiences. So blah blah blah. But anyway, I think narcissists are those people who are just really deathly afraid of being alone. I know that they have a bad rap because they manipulate and they hurt people, but their focus and their whole mission is to make sure that people don't forget that they exist. That's it, period. That's it. They just don't want people to forget that they exist. They want to have some kind of impact, period. And so they look for a person, they put all their energy and effort into making sure that that person focuses on them. If that narcissist is having a bad day, they want others to focus on the fact that they're having a bad day. Nothing else matters except for what the narcissist feels. They just don't want to be forgotten. And that felt very familiar to me because, wow, I didn't want to be left alone. It feels awful to be alone. It feels awful to be like, to be thought of as nobody cares about you or your experiences or your life or anything like that. And narcissists really, really take it to heart, and they do whatever they possibly can. They don't care about your feelings, about your experience with them. They just want you to know that they are a part of your life. They don't want to be forgotten. And what I like to do when I think about this myself is that when I run into a narcissist or somebody like that, I believe that I have the power. And I want you to think about it this way too. I believe that I have the power because they are the ones desperate for my attention. And I can withhold if I am paying attention, if I am focused, if I notice that what they're doing is manipulative. I can take away my attention at will. I can take away my attention at will. If they're trying to manipulate me and I recognize it, I'm like, oh, I'm just not paying attention to that. They fall apart. I fell apart. They fall apart. It's awful. Don't do this to me. Don't forget about me. I will do everything I can. I will do everything I can to make sure that you don't forget about me. I'll call this person. I'll call that person. I'll make up a bunch of stuff. I'll stalk you online. I'll do whatever it can. But listen, if you just flip your mindset and just think about it this way. This narcissist friend who's trying to grab your attention, they are putting a lot of energy into you. You're very special and important. I know that people who like narcissistic people don't believe, like the people who diagnose narcissists are saying like, they don't think that you're special and important. You are. If you flip that mindset, you are. They're doing all this rigmarole and woo-ha-ha and blah, blah, blah to make sure that you don't stop thinking about them. Hey, you don't stop thinking about them. They're doing everything they possibly can. Imagine how interesting and important you must be to them. If you just decided that you didn't want to and you let go of these people, it would be fantastic for you. You were the one with the power. You were empowered. So that's why I like to flip it. I like to flip it that way. So we talked about these three people because I don't want to go too deep down the narcissistic. I could probably just do another episode about this, but I'm all about changing the perspective and flipping that power and that mindset. So we have three kinds of people. The insensitive friend. If you are the insensitive friend who's always making jokes, people are going to leave you because they don't like it. It doesn't feel good. If you are the nosy friend who's always in somebody's business but probably not sharing much of yours, we're going to leave you behind too because we can see that you have malicious intent. And then if you're the narcissistic friend, oh, poor baby, you want my attention so bad, but you don't care about how I feel about my experiences. Get out of here. You're gone. You're done. You're done. You're cooked. So listen, if you are one of those three people, this is what you're going to do to make a change. You're going to stop talking to people. Seriously. Leave these people alone. Just stop talking to people. Just leave them alone. Spend some time by yourself and try to figure out what the heck, or maybe talk to a therapist and figure out what's going on with you that you feel like you have to do these things. Because all of the things that happen here, all the insensitive, being nosy, being narcissistic, is trying to trigger other people to notice you. If you're insensitive, people are triggered by the fact that you say something hurtful. If you're nosy, people are triggered by the fact that you are poking around and you're not sharing. Right? And the narcissist, well, if you're the narcissist friend, you are definitely just doing whatever you want to get some kind of reaction. You want them to focus on you. It's a very, very, very insecure place that all three of these people come from. And once again, I'm saying this as a person who's had this experience, who has been these people. It's not a terrible thing. It's not something that you need to be ashamed of. It is just an understanding of how you show up in the world. That's it. That's all we're doing here is we're just looking at ourselves and recognizing that, oh, this is me. This is how I show up. And this is how I'm impacting the people around me. And the question is, do you desire to have that impact? If people are ghosting you, people are not talking to you, people are not interested in you, wondering why you can't maintain the kind of relationships that you want, it's time to do some self-reflection. So sit down somewhere, write it out in the journal, write it out in the journal, discover what's going on. Why do you say these things? Why are you so interested in other people? Why can't you let other people do things without you, without getting upset, feeling exhausted or feeling frustrated or left out? Feeling left out. What's going on with you? So if you're one of these three people, you want to spend time by yourself and understand more about you. That's the thing. And then when you come out of this understanding about yourself, you want to start listening to people. Listen to what they say to you without getting defensive. You can't be getting defensive. And it's a whole process, a whole skill set to learn how not to be defensive when somebody tells you about their experience. Well, I was just doing that because this was what I was taught. Well, I didn't know any better, blah, blah. Nobody wants to hear that. I want you to be accountable for your actions. Be accountable. Do that thing. Be accountable for your feelings. Be accountable for how you showed up. Be accountable for everything that you've done and how other people feel about their experience with you. And this is how you're going to make those connections. And if you're listening to me on your other side of the fence and you've had that insensitive friend or that nosy friend or that narcissistic friend, you're like, Leah, yeah, that's exactly what I want them to do. I want them to be responsible for their stuff. Yes, that's what people want. They want you to be responsible. So be responsible for your stuff. So if you are the insensitive friend, the nosy friend, the narcissistic friend, this is what you're going to do. I just mentioned it to you. Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam. If you'd like a little more guidance and hands-on support, then I've got great news. You can hire me as your own personal coach. Go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to apply for individual or group coaching. In this 12-week program, I'm going to help you make the meaningful connections that you deserve. After this coaching program, I promise you'll be able to do 3 things. 1, you'll be able to clearly identify who belongs in your tribe and who doesn't. Say goodbye to those people who are wishy-washy, you're unsure of. No, you will know for certain whether or not they deserve to be in the same space with you. And second, you are going to know that your thoughts and feelings are valid and worth expressing. So if you do have feelings about your friends not holding up boundaries or not holding up space for you or not meeting your needs, then you are not going to shy away from telling them. You will be able to communicate your boundaries in a clear, concise manner and advocate for yourself in your relationships. And finally, you are going to learn how to start and stop conversations with strangers and steer them towards topics that are interesting and important to you. I don't know about you, but I don't have weeks, months, years to discover whether or not me and my new friend have compatible values. If you know what you're looking for, you can discover if you're compatible in just a few conversations. If all this sounds good to you and you're ready to make those meaningful connections, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. Again, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. I look forward to working with you. Now it's time for your listener letters. If you have burning questions about your friendships and your platonic relationships with your coworkers and so forth, let me know. Write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com, and I might just read your letter out loud. All right, so this one talks about the main friendship consists of 6 people who are all in university. They've all been friends for about 3 to 5 years. They have a friend who is, we'll call him Jim, who is really just kind of disconnected. Essentially, what they say here is that every time we organize something, most of us go out, but it's always Jim who either has plans with others or just doesn't go. He's quite introverted, lazy at times, and recently he says that clubbing and loud noise makes him, quote, shut down. And the writer says, I'm really not sure what it means, but if anyone can relate, they want to know. Really, if I can relate, let them know. Okay, well, so they have a friend who doesn't want to go out with them, who shuts down, and they want to know if they are the bad friend. If they are the bad friend, or is it more of a them issue? And they say that it's gotten to a point where we think that he doesn't want to hang out with us anymore, so we try to convince him, but it just doesn't work. So now we want to go all on a vacation together, but we're not sure if we want to invite Jim or not, and we're not sure if Jim will be interested in going, and such and such. If we go without him, we'll be guilty of not letting him go with us on the holiday, but we are really annoyed with the amount of excuses he makes, and so we just don't think it's worth it. Help, what do I do? Help, what do you do? What do you do in this situation? So I kind of feel for you. It sounds like you're pretty young. You're half my age. Oh my God, I said that. Half my age. Okay. You're in your early 20s, and it makes sense that you're feeling this and you're in this space. But you're not sure about your friends. It's like you were all kicking it before, and then all of a sudden now it seems like they don't want to hang out with you. They've got all these reasons and excuses to do the fun things that you all used to do together. Well, it seems like you all used to do together. You all used to hang out together, but this person doesn't like to go to the clubs, and it seems like that's what you and your friends do. The friend group, that's what you do. You go to the clubs. So is it a you problem? Are you are you a bad friend, or is it them? Is it them? And I would say that at this point in the stage, and this point in your life, it seems like you're growing apart. You're growing apart, and this happens. Okay, this happens. We go and we find our values. We discover more things about who we are, what we like, what we're interested in, and we lean towards those things. And sometimes the things that we lean towards are the opposite of what our friends were like before. So they hung out with you. Jim hung out with you and your crew because that's probably what was available to them in high school. And then you and Jim, you and the friend group and Jim, you all discover that there's clubbing out there because you didn't do that before. And there's clubbing out there, and it's fun and exciting for you and most of your friends. You're like, yeah, this is great. I love to drink. I love to dance. I love to talk to girls. I love to do all the things that I want to do out here. It's amazing. And Jim is just overwhelmed. He hasn't had this experience before, but now he's just completely overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed with the society and the pressures to do so, the drinking, the loud atmosphere, the talking to the girls, all of that stuff. He's overwhelmed with the kind of jokes that y'all might express. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, but just trying to get into the mind of Jim and why he may not want to be in that place. And he's having difficulty saying, look, I don't want to be there because it doesn't feel good to me. Well, actually, he says that. I don't want to be there because it doesn't feel good to me. Here's an excuse. I've got other things to do. I'm not interested. It is frustrating that Jim doesn't say flat out, because I think that's what I'm reading here. Jim doesn't really say flat out. He just says it helps him. He shuts down, makes him shut down. That's what he says. But he didn't say, look, I don't want to go out with you. Stop asking me. I don't think he's overtly said that. If he has, then you're not listening and you're not attending to the needs and the realization that this friend is changing and adjusting and becoming somebody else. So if he has said that, then you missed it. But if he hasn't, then he is saying it by his actions and behaviors, because he would make plans to go out with you. He would adjust. He would do what he can. We spend time on things that are valuable and important to us. So what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with this person as far as the holidays? The spring break that's coming along. What are you going to do? Well, what I recommend that you do is not try and take care of them and their feelings. Like, there's no guilt for you to be in the space. I would hope that I instill this idea into you, that there's no guilt, because they are clearly not saying what it is that they want, but their actions show it enough. There's excuse. I don't want to hang around you and do this kind of thing. What I like to do in these situations, get clarity about the conversation or clarity about what's going on inside of the other person's head. So having a conversation with them about how you feel, what you've noticed about their actions and behaviors. Like, hey friend, I've noticed that every time we ask you to hang out, you're unavailable. And this is how I feel about that being unavailable. And because I'm so tired of rejection from you, I feel like you don't want to hang out with us. So I and my friends, us, we are going on a spring vacation, and we aren't going to invite you, just so you know. I know it sounds so harsh. Oh my God, it sounds harsh. Like, we're not going to invite you. And I just want you to know that we're not going to invite you because we're going to do all of the things that it seems like you don't want to do. We're going to go run around in Florida, even though they don't want us there. They don't, us, because I'm way past my spring break prime. But if you haven't heard, spring break in Florida, Palm Beach and stuff, they're like $100 parking. We don't want you here. We don't want kids here, or the people breaking the laws and fighting and drinking and all that stuff. We don't want it. So anyway, we're going to do all the things that we like to do that are fun, that we constantly ask you to do, but now we're going to go on a holiday and do it together. We're going to go on a vacation and do it together, and we're not going to invite you. Just want to know how you feel about that. Actually, I just wanted to tell you and let you know. I hope that we can kick it sometime later. That's warranted a conversation. And the reason why perhaps it hadn't come to your mind is that we don't, especially men, don't express our feelings. We don't talk about how we feel about the things. We just kind of push it under the rug and just kind of sulk. But I recommend that you tell them, look, we're going on a holiday and it seems like you don't want to go, so we didn't invite you. It seems like, basically they're telling you, look, I shut down loud music and stuff, and I guarantee you and your boys getting out there, you're going to do some loud music stuff. You're going to do a bunch of drinking. You're going to talk to girls. You're going to do all the stuff that this person is just not interested in. Does it mean that it's the end of your relationship? It doesn't have to be. It means that you won't do anything like this. You won't do things like this because this person doesn't like it. Maybe if you're interested in reviving the relationship with this person, you could lean into understanding what else they would like to do instead. Lean into understanding more about who they are and how they're becoming a different person instead. They don't always have to do the thing that you want to do. And I guarantee you they're not going to be, I believe, I'm going to say guarantee. I based on what you told me, I would say they would be very, very happy that you passed them over, that you didn't bother them and ask them to do something they didn't want to do. I believe that is true. But certainly, it's not that you're a bad friend. It warrants a conversation. So go talk to them and tell them about what your intentions are, and then try to get to know this person a little better if you want your relationship to survive. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, share with someone who you think could benefit from this information, and follow me on social media. You can find me at Patterns of Possibility on all social media. And I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me and learn more about these social connections and interact with other people who are looking for the meaningful connections, who share the same kind of stories, and be in community. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at patternsofpossibility.com, where you will get actionable steps delivered to your mailbox every week. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.